Well, welcome to Dragonheart. I am joined by Matt Griffiths, Bill Long, and Neil Williams. Bill, buzzing after that 5-0.
Yeah, fantastic win. Just the tonic we needed, wasn't it, Neil?
Definitely so. They played to their strengths on Saturday. Whole all-round team performance. I thought they tacked well, they pressed well, and we saw 5 goals, which is how we finished off. Last season they were dominant. Maidstone didn't get lucky on Saturday, and hopefully may continue.
And I'm in a fair amount of discomfort, so I just drank some water and it went up my nose. But on the positive side, I also found out at the weekend that Neil only realised after our last episode that these were out as videos as well as podcasts.
Do you know what? When I was leaving the ground on Saturday, somebody said it was Neil off Dragonheart. You're the one that was playing around with your phone and computer or whatever.
Brilliant.
Well, what else has been brilliant is Wrexham on Saturday. We're going to break that down. We're also going to touch on the 2 games previous, but not too much. We've got Welcome to Wrexham, which is coming out, I believe, if you listen today, which is Friday. It'll be coming out the day before, so Thursday on Disney Plus, I believe. So we're gonna have a general chit chat about that. We're gonna talk about Luke Young, accompanied with a little bit of an interview. Yeah, let's not waste any more time. It's time for Dragonheart.
Hi guys, I'm Dominic Rose and this is Dragonheart.
Young signals, Hayden's getting his shirt pulled already. It's swung over his head, headed towards goal by Davis. Yes! Yes! That was a beautifully worked set piece. A ball to beyond the far post, an unmarked header back into the goal mouth. Didn't catch who scored it.
I didn't see who scored it either.
I think it was Mullen. I think Mullen squatted down and headed it in. But let's say before we saw
Well, it was swept in by Young. Lovely move. Davis left the goal, put it across, and it was Paul Mullen, of course.
Yes.
Why did I even ask? Young.
Mullen squatted down and got a good header on.
The defender's tackled. Mullen's one-on-one with the keeper, and he scoops it. Oh, that's a horrible miss. I can't believe he's missed it by that much. Oh, that's outrageous.
Why did he not just take the keeper on, go round him and just tap it in the back of the net rather than trying to scoop it over him?
I don't know. I'm a long-distance doctor. You see, I specialise in revision technique. Andy, as we all know, is a big expert on Bob Marley, so between us, we can advise on cramming, jamming and lambing. Long clearance for Palmer. Oh, the defender makes a hash of that. Mullen nearly latched onto it on the edge of the area.
Did we have to pay for that one?
Pay for what? So Howard, on the edge of his box, stands it up. Mason got shape now. Palmer is up against Ellel. Takes it on the chest, drives into the box. Ellel goes down. Palmer slots it home, but a foul is given.
For what? For what?
The foul on Ellel is why the refs disallowed the goal.
It's 6 of one, half isn't the other.
Yeah, let's have a look on the monitor. It'll be interesting. But certainly Tozer drove it in nicely. The fact we've only got one is down to us not being clinical enough as Palmer gets it well. Nods edge of the area. Shot edge to the box. Yeah! What a goal! Yes! What a strike by Jordan Davis! That was sensational. Like I said, we're not clinical enough. Palmer nods it down. Davis running onto it. First time left-footed as the ball was rising into the bottom right corner. Oh, that was epic. What a goal!
It just looked a bit odd. I don't know if Jordan Davis is left-footed or not, but
yes, he's very left-footed.
It just seemed a bit strange the way his contact with it, but it flew in the bottom corner.
It was a beautiful strike, wasn't it? He just had to sort of check his stride to gallop onto it. But what a hit by Jordan Davis. Palmer got up well against Ellel, beat him again, maybe climbing to be fair, and Davis on the edge of the D. Oh, what a hit, edge of the D. Just hit across it, outside the foot, so that it comes across and inside the bottom right corner.
I was waiting
the left
for the
side of the D.
Ref to pull it up actually for the climbing basically, but
yeah,
perhaps he thinks he should have given us the first goal when Palmer was disallowed. So
Maybe so, because to be fair, I think that makes as much a foul. As Hayden brilliantly steps in, wins the ball, beats a man and finds James Jones. Mullin wants it through the middle. Jones might hit this. Oh, he hesitates and passes it straight to Woods. And here's Hayden now. Hayden under pressure, shirt being pulled, wrestles past his man, that's good. Finds Ford. Mullin's going over the top. Ford sees it, floats it. That's a great ball. Mullin, 1-on-1 with the keeper. On his left foot, takes a touch, drills it. Good save with the feet by Marcin. He could have a hat-trick, couldn't he?
He could well have done, yeah.
It was a great ball by Ford. Ball is swept in nicely. Davis misses it. It's in! That might be an own goal. Davis attacked it in near post, didn't quite make contact, but it hit somebody. Might have been hit, or is it Hayden? I don't know, is he celebrating it or not? It was a great corner by Wrexham. And the scoreline is now starting to look like it should. Yes. But they're all going to congratulate Young, and I think that's an own goal. Hayden attacked it, tried to stretch his foot round his man.
And he missed it, didn't he? I'm not sure.
But definitely wasn't Jordan Davis.
No.
That's who the announcer has said.
Yeah.
Davis was attacking near post. Maybe he got a flick on it, but he didn't head it near goal. We're waiting for the replay on the monitor here. Davis attacked it. He did get a head on it, and it hit. I think it's Olasanya, I think.
Yeah, it's number 14 for them who heads it home.
Yeah. He rolls out to Vincent, who's playing on the left. Deacon has gone into an attacking position as it's given away by Vincent, and here's now a chance forward, running at the keeper, goes round him, tight angle though, left the ball behind, and it's hacked clear.
Maidstone got something on it.
That was good work by the keeper then, wasn't it? Away swinger, toes is under it, it bounces over his head at the far post, and he's gone to the wing to retrieve it, and now he's taking on his man. He goes to the corner flag and knocks it off his man for another corner. That's good play in it. Yeah, go well Tozers today. And he just worked around the side of his man, knocked it off him. Patterson it was.
Tozer's been solid today, because I thought towards the end of last season he was looking just occasionally his touch with ball.
And maybe the start of this too, to be fair. But he's really looked solid, hasn't he? So Wrexham have got everyone in the 6-yard box, apart from Hayden on the penalty spot and Jones on the edge. Young sweeps it beyond. Mullin's pulled out, heads it in the goalmouth. That's handball, surely. Yeah, penalty. It was nodded down by Mullin. Palmer standing in the 6-yard box, back to goal, flicked it on. The defender behind him had his hands up. So Mullin has spotted it up and waits for the go-ahead. Wrexham players taking liquid in. There goes the whistle. Mullin runs up, drills it. 4-0. Mullin's got a second.
He doesn't look like Young. He doesn't look like Young. He just blocks it. Nice ball by Davis from Gordy down the left. Feeds a good ball to Mullin. Can he get past the last defender? He steps over the ball. Running it poorly. His hand has got inside. Mullin on his right drills it.
Yes! Hat-trick for Mullin. He moves his arms and walks to the maximum stand. He missed 2 1-on-1s in the first half. But Mullin is the man. The owners are here to see him keep the match ball for his hat-trick.
Feeds a good ball to Mullin. Can he get past the last defender? He steps over the ball. Running it poorly. His hand has got inside. Mullin on his right drills it.
Hat-trick for Mullin.
Well, unfortunately, last week we couldn't do a Dragonheart, but we're going to touch on the Yeovil and Chesterfield games just a little bit before we talk about Maidstone. We don't think we need to talk about these 2 games too much because they've been talked about enough. But quickly, Mark, the story for me, Yeovil, as me, Neil and Bill went, was the conditions were extreme. And I think if it was a bit rainier, a bit colder, I think we might have got something out of that.
100% agree. It was a bit stop-start, wasn't our performance? We didn't really get fluency going, but I think, to be fair, that's because it was ridiculously hot. The players put in good shifts considering that, but we never really got moving in the way that we should. And there was a reaction to the performance on social media. Not a massive reaction, but, some people were concerned. I got to say I did not feel concerned at all because, despite the fact that we didn't find our rhythm, and, we're not going to suddenly blow everyone away. There are going to be games like that. But despite us not being able to find our rhythm, and like I said, I think the conditions, the main reason for that, we would have still won that game were it not for an absolute worldie by a player who, from the first 2 games of the season, has done one thing, that. It just was totally out of the blue, and credit to him, it was brilliant, but it was unfortunate. So we would have been a bit under par and won. And a win at Yeovil is a good result. I do admit, though, Bill, that the defeat at Chesterfield was something that understandably provoked a bit of rage on social media.
Yeah, it was a tough one to take, that, wasn't it? It wasn't a fantastic performance in any way, shape, or form. Not the kind of performances that we're really used to. I could see like how sometimes subsequent fixtures make the earlier fixtures in a chain seem worse than they actually are because they come in sequence. I don't think Yeovil was too bad, and I think we'll actually look at a point, back at a point like that in the rep towards the end of the season as not too bad. But that Chesterfield performance was poor. But at the same time, how many times have we been at the racecourse and seen Wrexham batter the team that goes to get promoted from pillar to post? And you think, oh, we look good this year. I'm not saying that Chesterfield don't look good, but we've had seasons where we've beaten Luton, we beat Crawley, I think, at home, or we at least got a draw against them.
Yeah.
We beat a few other teams that got promoted and looked much better than them on the day. But it's a marathon, not a sprint, isn't it, Neil?
Oh, definitely so. I mean, going back to the Yeovil game, I think Yeovil could have nicked that. We were very poor in the second half, and conditions were exactly the same for both teams. Yes, it was hot as we were there, but I just didn't think we performed at all. There was no cohesion between the team. And I think we were lucky to come away with a point. Chesterfield, why we mixed it up a bit and dropped Luke Young, which is for me, is one of our key midfielders. I don't know why they dropped him, but poor performance. But it's only beginning of the season, guys, and it was 3 games in. Saturday we bounced back. So I haven't got many concerns at the moment. If we carry on playing like we did on Saturday, we will be difficult to beat. But my concern is our away games at the moment. We seem to be not travelling very well as a team and doing very well at away games. I mean, Woking will be a test on Saturday when we go there. So hopefully things will change.
Yeah, I 100% agree. The away form is reasonably concerning if you take into account, Dagenham last season, the carrying on the away form. But I honestly, again, I don't think it's much to worry about. I think Yeovil, it was extreme conditions, and me, Bill, and Neil will know firsthand because we were standing in the stands, and it was hard enough just to stand and watch the game of football, never mind play, with no shelter. The roofs weren't covering the pitch. So Yeovil is one of them. Chesterfield was poor, but Chesterfield are also a very good side. So sometimes you can't win all these games. You're going to lose games to top quality sides, which Chesterfield are. The one thing I was a bit annoyed about the most about Chesterfield was, funnily enough, you couldn't write it. The Monday and the Tuesday, I was working in a Chesterfield fan's house, plastering. And of course, on the Monday, I was giving it the big un, saying we're going to smash it. Nothing's going to stop us this year. And then I woke up and I didn't want to go to work on Wednesday morning. So yeah, that'll teach me to keep my mouth shut. And I actually didn't know there was Chesterfield fans in North Wales, so you learn something new every day. So
you do a deliberately bad job on the last day, just to spite him.
I just punched through the wall.
Good lad.
So there you go.
Isn't it Middlesbrough, wasn't it, that when they built the arch of Wembley, that the firm they got was in the northeast, and a lot of them are Middlesbrough fans, and one of them put, I may be getting the details just like mixed up. One of them put a Middlesbrough shirt into the section that joins the 2 bits together, so there'll always be a Middlesbrough shirt hovering over Wembley. I'm sure that's true. So I hope he buried a Tick Shock shirt underneath his carpet when he wasn't looking.
And I just printed off the Dragonheart logo and just glued it with the strongest glue straight onto the wall. Anyway, moving on to Maidstone. Saturday game I was quite anxious about, to be fair, for many reasons, really, because I thought if we don't win in front of the owners today, I thought that the fans would really start getting angry, maybe rightly so as well. And I watch me and you both, Mark, watch a bit of Maidstone before the game. They're a bit of a tricky outfit, aren't they? They're not as terrible as a lot of people make them out to be.
Well, I mean, Phil Parkinson predicted it. He said they're very attack minded, and I did wonder whether they'd alter their tactics playing as ours, because you look at their 3 games so far, and they got 4 points like we had out of the first 3 games. 2 of them against fellow promoted sides and 1 against Altrincham, who are, decent, but let's be honest, they'll be aiming for mid-table, and they were very attacking in all those games, got some reward, and you sort of thought, okay, they've shown they've got something going forwards. Will they attempt it at our place? The thing is, they did, and I think that was a huge mistake. And I said in the Final Whistle podcast that DRAGONHEART87, their manager, was having a go at them for their performances at the racecourse. Well, firstly, I think he should look at himself, because they came at us and they were blown out of the water. They should have been more cautious. They'd have so many gaps. They had the same approaches when they were home to Dorking in midweek. Dorking are going well, but we're not Dorking. The racecourse is a very different proposition, and I thought they were quite naive, and I think the manager sets them up like that. I also think it's a bit rich when the manager calls his players out after a match when he missed the game 4 days earlier because he went to Cyprus for a family wedding. So I think he's got a little bit of a nerve myself, but yeah, they had something about them, but they came at us, and I think that was naive. They should have protected themselves and worked their way into the game, I think.
I get that, but that's all hindsight, isn't it?
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. I don't think they have the personnel to go out and protect and sit back, because I think if they were to sit back, I think we would have got even more goals. I think they're one of those sides that, a bit like Leeds and the Bielsa, where they just have to go for it and try and score more goals than the other side. But we just completely outmatched them every play on the pitch, didn't we, Neil?
Yeah, I totally agree with what Mark said, because, I think that's the way they play. They're a very attacking team, and they may carry on doing that for the rest of the season. But that played into our hands to give our players space in the midfield, and we were able to play the ball around and put the ball over the top for Mullen to run onto. I mean, it should have been double that on Saturday. It should have been 10 goals. The number of chances we missed. I thought they were absolutely superb on Saturday. Back to their old ways of the end of last season when we totally dominated games and were freely scoring goals. So yeah, I think they played into our hands, and as Mark said, and just created a lot of space for us to run into. And the team put in a shift. To be fair to them, every player on that pitch of Wrexham put a shift in. And I came away more than happy. Like yourself, I was a bit concerned before the match, because newly promoted team, they always come up with a bit of drive and a bit of enthusiasm because they've just got promoted. So yeah, I was a bit concerned, but they were no match for Wrexham on Saturday whatsoever. And hopefully, it continues as the season goes on, and we play exactly the same game plan, same team. Keep the same team. Keep that winning team on there all the time.
Yeah. Bill, following on from that, then, is that the best midfield we have to offer at the moment?
That's a tough question. That's a really tough question. I'm gonna be awkward and say yes and no. I think, yes, it is because they're familiar with each other. So it's the best that we have right now. Whether after, halfway through the season or 2/3 of the way through the season, when the players had a bit more time to gel with each other, or, say Elliot Lee gets a bit more game time, Tom O'Connor comes back into the side. It's too early to say, but they're the best option we have available at the moment. Oh, yeah, I think it probably is. I don't think on ability it necessarily is, but on the cohesion that we've seen, definitely. What do you think, Mark?
I think it was a smart move by Parkinson to do that, because I know we had a costly stutter at the end of the season, but we were very, very good last season, and we had that midfield, and the whole system had really gelled, and everybody knew what they were doing. And there were lots of passages of play that were very familiar, weren't they, as the season wore on? You knew where James Jones was going to go when Bryce Hosanna cut inside. It was all very automatic, and it was good. And I think that, let's be honest, if we'd done badly against Maidstone, Parkinson would have been under intense pressure, and I think it was quite smart to go with the setup that he knows works and which consistently stuck goals past teams like Maidstone. So I think that was clever. But you're quite right to mention Lee and O'Connor. I mean, those two guys haven't dropped down the divisions to sit on our bench, and Parkinson hasn't bought them to sit on our bench. There's going to be some point where surely they'll come into play, whether it's a case of just bedding in the different system that they use to exploit Lee a bit more before they use him, whether it's trying to get him match fit with reserve games, perhaps, or whether it's by doing what Neil has said they shouldn't do and rotating. It'd be interesting to see how we approach this.
Well, yeah, following from that then, Bill, is from watching Saturday and then watching Tuesday, I agree with Neil about the rotation, but do you rotate against weaker sides, or would you just rotate all the time, see who's fit and who's well?
It's a tough one, isn't it? I think to sort of draw parallels, if you look at the 98-point season, you'd probably argue that our best midfield that year was Fowler, Keats, and Harris. But some of our best performances, like say playing against Brentford, was when Jamie Tolley started. So to last the whole season, you need to have all of your midfielders. It's such an important position, centre midfielder, especially when you're playing with free midfield. You need all of them to be on form. I think it'd be tempting to say rotate for weaker games, but then we've played weak opposition with what you would consider our most settled midfield and gone and battered them. Maybe that would have been the opportunity to try Lee and O'Connor out, but ultimately we got the result. So it's a tough one, really, isn't it? What do you think, Neil?
Yeah, I personally, I would stick with our strongest team all the time. And I think I said to Mark before the game on Saturday, start with our strongest lineup, what we finished with last season. As many players as we had last season, and integrate the newer players coming in as and when needed, maybe injuries or suspensions, and bring them in. And as Mark said, they'll get match fit during the reserve games they play. But I'm all for keeping the same team on the pitch all the time, especially for winning and playing well like we did on Saturday. I wouldn't change a thing for Woking's game. I'd start as we started on Saturday, and then he had the chance on Saturday because we were doing so well. Is bring these fringe players in, the players he's brought in, and bring them on for the last 20 minutes, give them a run round. But they've got to work into how we play as a team, and I think that's what maybe they're struggling to do at the moment, of seeing how we're playing.
So, Mark, carrying on from that then, would you keep the same team from Saturday to play Woking this Saturday?
I respect the idea of rotation. So if Parkinson has a plan, I respect that. Gut feeling is I would, because we were down after Chesterfield and then that team performed on Saturday. This is a big run of 5 games. We've won the first one heavily. Next is what on paper looks like the toughest of them, away to Woking. If we can keep the momentum going from Saturday, that's great. And then we've got a whole midweek game when maybe we can rotate a bit. So I'd be inclined to pick roughly the same team. I mean, I can understand arguments maybe for the odd alteration here there, but essentially I think I'd go the same for Woking. Then I'd maybe consider, all right, who looks a bit jaded after Saturday? Who can I rotate in on the Tuesday? I mean, we've
Monday,
got the best. What's that?
We've got a game on Monday, Bank Holiday Monday against Gateshead, haven't we?
It's been shifted to the Tuesday.
How's it? Okay,
So
sorry,
there's
Mark.
Yeah, so there's an extra day of leeway. Both our bank holiday games we've moved to the Tuesday, and I was quite interested in that because it said on the club website that the National League give permission for this to happen, and I'm thinking, is that a new thing? Because previously we've always played on a bank holiday. I totally get moving it from the point of view of playing 2 games in 3 days. I know it's tradition, but it does seem a bit daft in terms of tiring players out. And also because at the moment we can afford to say that because we're guaranteed sellout crowds. So a bumper bank holiday crowd is no longer an issue for us, is it? We're gonna sell out, I'd assume, against Gateshead on the Tuesday. So I think we're right to do that. But yeah, I remember we got the best sports science in the division by a mile. So they also have access to things that we can't see. It might be they was seeing that Luke Young's numbers were quite low on the Monday after playing. Oh, sorry, on the Wednesday after Chesterfield, and they felt maybe it'd be wise just to give him a rest for a game. I don't know. No, After the Yeovil game, I mean, when he'd been running around in the heat. Maybe so, maybe not. I don't know. Didn't work out right, but...
You never know. He might have had a bit of heat stroke or something, mightn't he? It was
Yeah.
that hot and the sun was that glaring. It's funny one. It does go to show how much we were missing Luke Young at the Chesterfield game, though, doesn't it? He had a fantastic performance on Saturday.
He busted, didn't he?
He was brilliant. Who was man of the match on radio commentary?
Mullen.
Yeah. Luke Young won man of the match, voted by the match sponsor, which is surprising. Well, it says a lot how good Luke Young played when Mullen had a hat-trick, doesn't it, really? That people are still thinking Luke Young deserved man of the match.
Of course, they could have been sarcastically picking him just to say to Parkinson, pick him in future. We'll talk about that time. I remember a few years ago, I'm sure it was was it Flynn or Saunders? I think it was Saunders. He brought off a player who seemed to be playing well. The team played, I can't remember what the game was, but we lost at home to someone that you wouldn't expect us to. We played really badly, and he took off a player who seemed to be doing well. And the sponsor, after only about 50 minutes, 5-0, and the sponsors sarcastically named that player as man of the match as a 2 fingers up to Saunders rather than, I think, anything else.
Right.
And quiz question, which player did Dean Keats have to substitute because of sunstroke?
I can't remember.
No.
Ollie Marks. Remember Ollie Marks? Very fair centre-back, very fair-haired. And the heat didn't do him much good. At Bromley, last away game of the season, if I remember correctly, he was boiling hot, and he didn't last much into the second half, bless him.
Well, it's that fair skin. I know what that's about. When you can't put sun cream on every half hour like I was doing at Yeovil. That's tough going, yeah. Let's get back to the Maidstone game. One person we haven't talked about is Super Paul Mullen. Bill, he was outstanding on Saturday, wasn't he?
Oh, he's just absolutely incredible, isn't he? I mean, we may as well just call it Mullen Heart at the moment because it's just every week there just seems to even when he doesn't score, he just looks fantastic. I mean, listen to your Final Whistle podcast, Mark, and I think you're right to point out that Ollie Palmer's playing really well at the moment, even though we can't quite bag a goal, but it's only a matter of time, isn't it? And when you've got Mullen scoring 3, it doesn't matter if Ollie Palmer doesn't score all year, as long as Paul Mullen keeps that rate of scoring up. Who cares? We're winning and he's scoring goals.
Mark, anything to add on that?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. They're a great combination, aren't they? We're talking about rotation. We're not going to rotate those two very much, I don't think. I don't think they'd be happy if they were rotated, but you saw how upset Palmer was when he got subbed. I don't mean in a sort of way of showing dissent to the manager, just you can see he's burning up because he wants to score goals and he hasn't yet this season. But he's playing very well. He bullied the centre-backs. You can imagine in the changing room, the manager tossing the coin to decide which centre-back he was going to sub at half-time, because Palmer had bullied both of them, hadn't he? But Mullen, again, he's missed 2 great chances in the first half. Doesn't put him off. He keeps going. And Neil and I, we were talking beforehand, saying we were surprised that we didn't have a hat-trick last season, and Mullen was the player we were thinking of most, and then lo and behold, he went and delivered, and maybe the first of many.
Yeah, he could have had a double hat-trick, I think, on Saturday.
Yeah.
The number of chances he missed.
He was useless, wasn't he?
He was excellent. Any other notable things to talk about? Any other notable performances? I've got one off the top of my head that I enjoyed.
Go on.
Is when Maidstone brought Alabi on, who's the ex-Chester absolute tank of a man, and how Max Cleworth, and then, they obviously said, Alabi, go to Max Cleworth, he's the one you can bully on that back three, and how Max Cleworth just completely outclassed him. Alabi couldn't get past him once. Max Cleworth was winning everything in the air. He was just showing how much of a better footballer he is, and honestly, Max Cleworth, I think, can go very far. I think he could go straight to the Championship or League One, and there's probably clubs looking at him already. Mark, it's a little Max Cleworth segment for me. What do you think of his performance?
Well, I mean, we know he reads the game well, and he made lots of good interceptions before Alabi came on. Alabi, who of course is the inspiration for the Cockney knees up. My old man's a bin lorry. He's absolutely massive, isn't he?
Yeah, he's huge.
And you think, okay, the way he tried to pin Cleworth, he was clearly trying to turn it into a physical contest because Cleworth had read the game so much better than their strikers. No issue. Cleworth was beating him in the air. The physical thing didn't phase him. You know, teams keep trying that. Occasionally they get some joy out of him, but generally they don't. He's an exciting project, a prospect, I beg your pardon. And God, he's keeping Tunnicliffe out of the team. And Tunnicliffe's a major signing. I mean, he's a cracking player. He's come down from having a good season in the Football League, and Cleworth's keeping him out of the team. I think that says a lot as well.
Yeah.
I would say Pascal Cleworth is our most consistent defender. You know, you can always depend on him at the moment. For a young lad, he's a fantastic defender. And as you say, I think there may be teams higher up the pyramid looking at him at the moment because he's going to be a star of the future, I think.
And hopefully we can climb up the ladder. He can climb up the ladder with Wrexham. And talking of Wrexham, there's a little documentary coming out on, well, it would have been yesterday when now you listen to this. So after this, we're going to talk about Welcome to Wrexham.
I'm Aaron Hayden, and this is Dragonheart.
Well, Welcome to Wrexham airs on the 25th in Wrexham, I believe, isn't it? In Wrexham, in the UK. It's still absolutely crazy to me, and even as a part of the media team, we get to see, we've seen a lot of the, documentary crew up and down the place. It's still bizarre to me, Neil, that there's like a Hollywood documentary being made about our club and our town. It's sort of pinch yourself stuff, isn't it?
Absolutely crazy, mad, whatever you want to call it. To think that our hometown, our football club is getting aired all over the world, billboards all over the world with our name on it. I think I saw somebody saying we've got 143,000 Twitter followers at the moment, I think, on Wrexham, and they expect it's going to go well over 1 million after this the documentary comes out, and it's just crazy that we're just a small North Walian club, which has been my club all my life. And it's just still like a fairy tale, that these two guys are coming, taking over our club, produced a documentary to say they've been around the club for months and months filming for this documentary. We've seen them about the club. And yeah, it's going live on Thursday. And they're both over on Saturday to watch the game. And they're here, obviously, because of the opening performance of the film. So, yeah, it's massive for the town. It's massive for North Wales. And massive, huge for Wrexham Football Club. But again, it'll put a lot more of the opposition fans against us, because we've got this documentary. So we're up there for the taking all the time. It's their cup final. That's the only thing that is the negative side of it, that they come to Wrexham thinking this is our cup final. Let's show them what we can beat them.
Yeah. Let's hope that doesn't work too many times this season. Mark, I was looking on Twitter and I've been seeing these videos of Hulu of a Wrexham bus that's traveling around parts of America, and people are kicking like these felt footballs onto like a Velcro dartboard, and like people from America with American accents knowing and talking about Wrexham. It's strange, isn't it?
It's strange, but it's wonderful, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
I find this terribly exciting because I don't think this has been done before. This idea of, obviously clubs have been taken over by people who put money into them. Obviously clubs have been taken over by people who have no link to those clubs. With the best will in the world, I suspect the Glazers weren't wandering around the Everglades in Man United shirts. Although I believe that is one of the main heartlands for Man United fans, because clearly Manchester isn't. Sorry, bit of a joke from the 90s there. It's brilliant that they've come along and they are basically turning celebrity into currency, aren't they? So obviously they're putting their own money in, but they're also happy to use their celebrity and the fact you can be linked with them to draw money in. TikTok Look at Bill's shirts, those of you watching on video. TikTok, and Neil's actually, I beg your pardon, TikTok sponsor Wrexham. Nobody else.
Yeah.
There's no other football team sponsored by TikTok. Just us. Expedia are sponsored 2 British football teams, Wrexham and Liverpool. That's ludicrous. I mean, it's mad, isn't it, really? And neither of those companies would come near us were it not for the celebrity factor. And I just love the way they're monetizing their celebrity to put us out there. And that's what this documentary is, isn't it? Sorry.
What's nice, Mark, as well, is they actually love the football club. They love the community, you know. They're not in it just for the money like the Glazers are, and they're going to rip all the money out of the club. They're there because they've got a passion for the football club now, which is great, you know. And I think it's very unique. I don't think any other foreign owners have come into a football club apart from maybe Abramovich for Chelsea, but and actually love the place that they've actually bought, you know, and the town and the football club.
100%. Yeah, and I think it's. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, Bill. Bill. It is a huge thing for the football club, but for the wider Wrexham area, how do you think this could impact us as people?
It's going to be huge, isn't it? I mean, a lot of people talk, years ago when Swansea got into the Premier League. I remember seeing interviews with locals at the time about how much that benefited and helped regenerate the areas, particularly around the ground, with the increase of interest in Swansea as a city, but the city as a whole. I mean, we're going to have that impact without even having to get to the Premier League yet. It's kind of crazy, really, that we're going to definitely see an increase in tourism into the town. There's going to be people who, both locally and from outside of the area, who are going to now want to take a punt on some of those empty shops and empty storefronts and potential restaurants and all that sort of stuff. And I mean, times are really tough for people, but it could actually bring a bit of money to the town, which is considering everything that's going on, is a massive bonus for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah, massive. Football's huge for morale, isn't it, Mark?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And it isn't just that. I mean, I was in town today, and there was a film crew wandering around. I'm not sure exactly what they were doing. But, nobody was really batting an eyelid. Normally, if you see a TV crew in Wrexham, or, say 3 years ago, you'd be, ooh, what are they up to? Don't care. There's always TV crews wandering around Wrexham now. And there is a good positive buzz about it. Some businesses were doing things referencing the club. That's great. All this little residual sort of rippling effect of other businesses in Wrexham being able to take advantage of the club's success and then maybe make a bit of money for themselves. That's great. That it's positive, and it's building up the community. We've got the bid for the levelling up funds for the Gateway project, which the club are pushing hard. That's going to benefit Wrexham, not just the club. And so there's all these ways it helps the town itself. It's terrific, but I think it all comes back to what Neil said, doesn't it? Really, that people ask me sometimes, people from like other clubs, when they come to the racecourse, and about, what the heck's going on, or even people in Wrexham. Some people have quite odd ideas about it, and I get that, because it's an odd idea, isn't it? Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney buying Wrexham, so I get why some people are really bemused by it. But when you see their enthusiasm, when you're watching it regularly, you can see that they're loving it. They're absolutely loving it. And yeah, it's not a Glazers thing coming in and drawing money out. They are genuinely loving it. Somebody asked me that, I suppose when they get in the Football League, then they'll start making money for themselves out of the TV money. Well, no, they know full well they're going to come in and make a loss on this. This is fun for them, isn't it? As they said in their original pitch, they're going to come in, write some checks and have fun. And
I think for someone who makes the kind of money that Ryan Reynolds does for playing Deadpool, I don't think a couple 100,000 from the Football League deal is going to make a big difference to his wallet, is it really?
Well, yeah, and that touches on the other thing, which I've heard people say cynically, which is they're only doing it because they'll get publicity from the documentary. Now, pardon me for stating the obvious. So
it works the other way around. I think Wrexham get the publicity from what they're doing, basically, rather than doing it for themselves. And you know, I can imagine in a few years' time there'll be like hundreds of Japanese tourists taking up with the cameras. You know, I can see that in Wrexham happening. You know, like you see around London.
We'll buy Tomiyasu from Arsenal to boost the shirt sales, and maybe you know, and we'll be laughing. Yeah, I mean that's exactly it, isn't it? Rob and Ryan are not desperately jumping onto the shirt tails of Wrexham so that they can boost their income. You know, let's be honest, as you say, Neil, this is done for us as part of a strategy to make us other people around the world's second favourite team. You know, Bill was mentioning the Final Whistle podcast. Over the last couple of months, 20% of listeners have been from the US and Canada to that.
Wow.
That's a direct way to keep in touch. Oh, I beg your pardon. And also that's the feed that this is on as well. Because, so you know, 1 in 5 listeners, probably to this then, are from North America, which is brilliant.
Wow.
And we welcome you, and I hope you enjoy the ride, because they need ways to find out about the club and what's going on. It's ludicrous to suggest that Ryan Reynolds thought, oh, what could make me famous? A documentary. He doesn't need that, you know, folks. And as a Rob McElhenney, the creator of the longest running non-cartoon sitcom in the history of American television, who a fortnight ago was filling in as a late night chat show host, which is the big solo job in American TV. Yeah, don't worry about Rob. He's going to be okay. He doesn't need this documentary to succeed. It's for us, isn't it? It's part of a business strategy, and it's, I got to say, a brilliant one.
Yeah. I 100% agree in it. And I think another point I'd like to make is if they make money out of us too, brilliant. I want them to make money. Yeah, you know, we want the club to be extremely profitable. And another fact I'd like to say, just to finish it off, really, is one point I don't think many people are speaking about. I think having a strong Wrexham Football Club up North Wales, it's going to be fantastic for Welsh football in general in the future. You know, we're going to have better scouting facilities. We're going to be able to hopefully competing with Swansea and Cardiff, and having stronger teams climbing up the ladder for Wales is just going to be good for Welsh football as a whole, isn't it? So, yeah, long may it continue.
I've got to say as well, I mean, yeah, we've got Gressford, the upgrade of that. That's now a major high quality trading centre. And also, okay, please, any South Walian listeners, don't throw your shoe at whatever you're listening to this on. But I quite like the idea that maybe North Wales might, because we are getting attention, get a bit of a better deal. South Wales, you know, a lot of money is the funding that comes out into Wales is generally focused in the south. And I know it's more populous in the north. I accept that. But I mean, I'm sorry. All of a sudden, people want to jump on the bandwagon and be seen with Wrexham, with Rob and Ryan's club, and hopefully that might actually encourage a bit of funding or support to come our way from Cardiff as well.
And some Welsh international football games would be nice as well,
right,
in North Wales when we get the new Cop stand built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a really weird pet hate that I hope this documentary sort of cures, in that Wales is sort of seen as one homogenous blob of the little rugby. You're right, man.
This got me head on a 1970s Wrexham program mug. Darn you, Graham Whittle. Might be actually looking.
Well, maybe Graham Whittle's getting angry before I make my point, but you know, we're sort of Wales seen as one homogenous blob of look, with the little rugby mining dwarfs on the other side of England, and we all sound like we're from Cardiff or the Valleys or whatever, and you know, the amount of times even from Welsh people, and I know it's just one of those things, but when you get, oh, you don't sound like you're Welsh, it's like, well, we're from Wrexham, we've got a Wrexham accent, Wrexham's in Wales, we sound Welsh. It's you know, we're finally going to have some Wrexham accents on a major sort of television production, you know, and we've got us. There's the Gwynedd region. There's Southwest Wales, Mid Wales. We're such a diverse country with completely different cultures, and it is really nice that we're finally going to get a bit of exposure to our area. That people are going to see that, and hopefully, maybe the rest of the UK might appreciate a little bit more what we're about, rather than just, not that there's anything wrong with South Wales, but we're not exactly like them. We're our own thing.
Yeah.
Well, Don't talk so much about exposing your area because that's not that time to show. But, if you watch the video version, don't worry. This is as dodgy as
bad as a clean sheet on Saturday. Man.
Oh, don't remind me of that. I'm not quite sure what was going on there. I have the same pet peeve there as you, Bill. It always drives me nuts. You watch like quiz shows on TV, and they'll say on the chase today, Stephen from Hounslow, Jim from Stevenage, Gary from Woking, and Thomas from Wales. Wales is bigger than those places. It's narrow it down a bit. That always happens. It drives me nuts. So I absolutely agree.
I completely agree with Bill as well. That was beautifully put. Just to wrap this little segment off, I think this is the most international story since that man tried to get the pony on the train at Wrexham General Station. So... and I don't know which one's more important to town because they're both very important stories. To be fair, when that man tried to get the pony on the train, that was
generated a lot of tourism, didn't it?
It got on to half. I got news for you. So yeah.
Oh, yeah, the man.
And after this, we got a little interview with Luke Young.
I'm Luke Young, and this is Dragonheart.
Hello.
Hi.
Not bad. I'm still getting over. But I'm picking up on that last point there, just flipping it around a little bit. Kevin Wilkin was our manager about 5-7 years ago, and he would talk about how to our opponents every game is a cup final. They want to perform against Wrexham. Now we're Deadpool's oil money Wrexham. I mean, do you feel that on the pitch? Do you get that sense of there's a particular desire to beat us, or is it just people go out as professionals and play, and that's not really the case?
You can probably look at it from both sides. I think as a professional, you want to go out and win every game, no matter whether you're playing, I don't know, a team 3 leagues above you, a team 3 leagues below you. If it's a friendly and in-house game, training game, you want to be on that winning team, and that's just a part and parcel of being a professional and being a winner, I think. But there's no doubt, even when you see last year teams come into certainly our place and getting men behind the ball and making it hard and making it compact and ultimately saying to us, try and break us down if you can. And at times it happened, at times it didn't, but more often than not it did, because we've got the quality in the side to open teams up. But when you get in 9-10 men behind the ball at any level, it's difficult to break down at times. You need to be patient, especially with the ball, and not force things, and eventually things will open up. And like I just said then, we've got the players in the team for that split second where the opposition switch off, go in for the kill. And I think the longer teams stay in games against us, I think the more confidence they get to maybe nick it. It could frustrate us, you never know, but I think as long as we're patient, as long as we keep doing the right things, we'll get chances, whether we score in the first minute or the 90th minute to win the game. We certainly saw that last year. We never give up, and sometimes it works for you, sometimes it don't, but there's certainly going to be a lot of times this year, probably home and away, where teams are going to sit behind the ball and try and make it hard for us. But that's what we're gonna come to expect now with everything that's going on around us.
And something that we're, I think, well equipped to deal with, because if a team really does park the bus, there's players like yourself and Jordan who can hit the ball from distance. They've got to come out to you, and then that disrupts their defensive block. So we're well equipped to break through in lots of different ways.
Eventually teams you're going to get that time where someone switches off, that they sit a little bit off you, a little bit too deep maybe, and then like you say, you get your shots off from the edge of the box. Sometimes they fly on the top corner, sometimes they don't, but it's picking the right time to shoot and picking the right time to pass. And we've also got like that threat from set plays as well, from corners, from throw-ins. We scored numerous goals from that last season, and that's certainly going to be the case this year, with a lot of aerial power and strength in there to certainly try and mix the game up. It's not always going to be pretty on the eye, and you got open teams up by making 15-20 passes a game. You might get in with that one long ball over the top, and we've got the players at the top to finish it. It might be a quiet game, and all of a sudden, bang, you go 1-0 up, or you go set play, bang, win 1-0. They're as good as winning 3 or 4-0. So we've certainly got a lot of ways to win the game. It's making sure that we try and, as players out on that pitch, pick the right opportunities, pick the right choices, and try and overcome what obstacles are going to be put in front of us.
And you create a lot of chances from set plays, and I think often fans look at somebody who'll rip in some amazing corner that drops unmissable, but you're a nice illustration, I think, of if you keep putting balls in the right position for players to attack, and those players are good enough, then you will create chances. I mean, it helps that Aaron Hayden can fly, but I mean, you're very good at putting the ball in just those correct areas, and you must have great confidence in knowing that if I'm able to do that part of the job, then Ollie or Aaron or Ben or someone like that's going to get on the end of it. And we've always got a chance from any set piece, even from say the halfway line.
Yeah. From my point of view, taking corners that I certainly obviously took a few last year, and obviously if I play it this year, I more than likely will take them this season as well. And when, like you say, when you have got them players in the box that want to attack the ball and want to get on the end of the ball to not only score themselves but to score for the team, I know that I have just got to put it in an area. I've not got to try and whip the hell out of it and put so much pace on it that I overhit it or I underhit it. It's just a case of not just floating it in there, but just kind of hitting an area. And as long as the lads know that the area that I'm hitting with certain signals, certain whatever that we work on the training pitch, then as long as I do my job, it's then their job to get in their mission and put the ball in the back, and they'll get their head on it. Look, I don't always get it right. The lads always don't get it right. You get blocked, you get fouled, pulled, etc., etc. But 9 times out of 10, if you're putting the ball in the area for the lads to attack, the lads that we've got here are going to get on the end of it. Defenders, strikers, midfielders, whoever that might be.
And one last question. It's a good job you got that good camaraderie in the changing room, because I was thinking last Saturday when we played Macclesfield, we got a free kick right on the edge of the area, and commentating, and I was saying, well, Jordan Davis isn't here, so Luke's going to be on. And then I looked at all these other players all queuing up. Tom took it in the end. Paul Mullen didn't even get involved in the conversation, astonishingly. I mean, wow, we got so many players. Free kicks from the edge of the box, or those sort of dangerous areas. There's so many good strikers with dead ball. It's quite something, isn't it?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, when you've got that amount of players that are confident enough to take it and put their name forward, and have the ability to actually strike the ball like really well and get it up and over the wall, around the wall, wherever they decide to go. It's good to have that many options, right footers, left footers. Some people might prefer to drive it, some might whip it. So we've got a lot of options for certain free kicks, and it's picking the right one, isn't it? Like, if somebody fancies it, then by all means take it. It's whoever wants it, whoever's confident enough to take it on the day, by all means can take it. There's no pecking order of who takes it, who's not. There's no getting away from the amount of free kicks that Jordan scored last year. So you look at it as if to say he's probably at the top of the pecking order because he backed it up with scoring a numerous amount of free kicks. So, but we've got a lot of players now that are going to put their name forward, and hopefully we can get the right decision on the pitch to get the ball in the back of the net.
Well, I'm still going to put £1,000 on tonight that you get that goal to see the trophy back. So never mind packing over. You know, that armband, you got to pull rank. Come on.
I don't use it like that. A lot of people will. No, I know.
Mortgage money's going on that.
No, everybody's in it for the same reason. So it's whoever fancies on the day. Yeah.
I'm Harry Lennon, and this is Dragonheart.
Well, we just heard from Luke Young there. Bill, how important is he to this team?
Well, he's our captain, so for starters, he's automatically, really important, even if he's not playing. Just for his influence that he has on the dressing room. But I think he's when you listen to ex-pros or current pros talking about what it means to be a captain, a lot of them seem to say that there's actually different types of captains, and you'll have some that are vocal, some that will, they sort of lead by being the best player in the squad. Luke Young's not necessarily vocal or the best player in the squad, but what he does is he leads by example, and every single game he gives 100%. Even when he's not had the best of games, you cannot fault his effort. And I know for a lot of people that's not necessarily enough to be a player in a title challenging squad, but I mean his effort was missed sorely against Chesterfield, and really he is one of the very key parts of our squad, isn't he, Neil?
Definitely so. I mean, I've been singing his praises for the last 2 seasons. I think he's a key to our cog in our big machine. Basically, if he's not playing, I don't think the midfield functions as well, because, as you say, the effort he puts in. 1 minute he'll be up attacking, then the next minute he's back defending. I mean, he's been berated by fans for the last couple of seasons, and I don't understand where they come from, because I think he's one of our unsung heroes of the team, to be honest. He's a nice chap as well, but yeah, he always puts in a full shift on that pitch, and I'm sure somebody said that stats, he always covers about 2 kilometers more than any other player on that pitch.
Well, it does not surprise me the work rate he turns in. But I was listening to the Rob Ryan Red podcast, Dean Keats, and he mentioned Luke Young, and he said he's just a model professional. And it's so important, to have your mavericks, to have your people who are a bit off the cuff, but it's also really important to have your true model professionals for the likes of Clueworth, Ryan Austin, these young lads coming up, to look at someone like him and think that's how you should be.
Absolutely right. And it's interesting because Bill's right talking about types of captain. But I think some players' influence is different on the crowd than it is on the team as well, because, players like Mullin or Palmer, for example, who aren't shy of rousing the crowd, are obviously big characters, like you say. But I think that Young is vocal on the pitch. He just doesn't appear to be, because he's not going to be somebody who'll run and pump the crowd up. But on the pitch itself, I think he's a big, strong character. Early on as a captain, he went toe to toe with Kyle Storer of Solihull, a player who likes to boss referees and opponents around, and Young wasn't having any of it, and he went straight toe to toe with him. He ended up as well, was it against Woking at home, on the floor having a sort of half fight with one of their players. So he's got that strong personality. I just love what Neil alluded to as well. A year ago, he was getting all sorts of complaints about, why is he captain? Tozer should be captain. And, when they made Tozer club captain and Young actual captain, some people saying, see, that shows Parkinson hasn't got faith in him, which was nonsense. And people were questioning his place in the team, and I couldn't comprehend that at all. And look now, where, as we are saying, an awful lot of people are putting down the Chesterfield misfire down to the fact that Young was rotated out because he's indispensable. I think that says everything you need to know about the value of the bloke. But he's as Neil said, he's a smashing fella as well. He's a real ambassador for the club in a nice, quiet way, but he really is. He's excellent on set pieces. I mean, goodness me, his corners on Saturday were terrific, but that's just consistent with what he does. He's terrific on set pieces. And as we heard in the interview, he's going to get that goal of the season trophy back in this season, I hope. Jordan Davis in the lead at the moment, isn't he? That left footer against Maidstone was a beauty.
Yeah, 100%. And Luke Young, a very important part of our team. Let's hope he gets that first goal. He didn't score last season, did he?
No, weird.
No, so considering how much of a goal scorer he was previously, so I think that shows how much he's evolved in his game as well. So, yeah, all eyes on Woking now.
Can I give you a short, weird theory about why Young didn't score last season?
Go on.
Because for the first time in his Wrexham career, when he got into those 25 yards, 30-yard out positions, he actually had good options and good players to pass it to, instead of having a pop. Because, I'd nearly name names then. Some players who had been an option a couple of years ago probably weren't worth passing, so you might as well just have a blast. I don't think he would consciously really think that, but you know what I mean? When you get the ball down those positions and Mullin's peeling off his man, he's not immediately thinking, I'll smash this. He's thinking, I'll find Mullin.
Well, it's a percentages game, isn't it, Mark? Because what's the percentage chance of shooting from X amount of yards?
Yeah.
Here he is.
Wesley's joined us.
Yeah. What's the percentage chance of scoring from a certain distance?
Yeah.
Versus passing to a player who has got a very good strike rate,
Mm.
or passing to a player who hasn't got a very good strike rate. So I think especially Parkinson's teams completely are their sort of percentage side, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
100%. Well, this is the cue for the end of the podcast for the audio listeners only. My son's bedtime is just approaching. He has joined the video podcast.
Yeah, it ain't over till a cute baby sings.
Yeah, or screams. Yeah, all eyes on Woking. Big game on Saturday, Mark. It should be a tough one. They've improved a lot. Yeah. So this has been Mark, Neil, and Bill, and this has been Dragonheart.
And Wesley.
And Wesley.
Yeah.
I'll never forget Wesley. This has been Dragonheart.